not being scared to fail by taking on something I have no idea if I can do or not. Like it's like, okay, someone offers me an opportunity and it's like, I've seen other people do that. I think I could do that. I know with practice I could do that. Whatever. I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna say I can do it. And whatever comes of it, comes of it, um, but I think personally for me, it's just not being scared to go out and take on an opportunity, or being afraid of the unknown. Like the unknown to me is very inviting. It's like, hey, there's something new that I don't know, and I love gaining more knowledge. So, even if I might have to get pricked by a couple thorns on the way or something, hop over a couple hills, like, at the end of this, I'm coming out with a better knowledge, a better person, a new skill of some sort, like, and whatever mistakes I made along that way, I'll just make sure I don't repeat them again. And I'll try the next venture the same way I tried this one. And some of them are great and some of them are not so great, but really you just can't be scared to go out there and try it, anything.
This is the Infinite Vizionz Podcast, a show to inspire your curiosity about life through conversations with artists and their stories. Hello everyone, I'm your host, Paige Hardy. When you find yourself in a rut, what do? Well, on this episode of the Infinite Vizionz Podcast, our guest Malik Herron, a videographer, photographer, web designer, and father of four, tells us how he keeps himself motivated and answer the question, what drives creativity? But before we get into that part of the show today, let's go ahead and do a quick little self-promo. I know, but it's mandatory. If you want to help the show grow, please give it a subscribe, follow, like, wherever you are listening or watching. My goal for this episode is to at least get 5 likes, so please help me reach that goal. Otherwise, if you'd like to help the show even more, you are more than welcome to donate through Anchor, Patreon, or even purchase any of my art. All those descriptions are in the link down below. Otherwise, I'm going to stop chatting your ear off. I'm sure all of you totally listened to that shameless self-promo. Thank you all for watching, and if you're new to the show, welcome. Let's get into it. Thank you so much, Malik, for joining me. You a videographer, photographer, creator, chef, the many hats you wear, also as well as a father of four. So I know you have a busy life, as we were talking about. Just to get you on an episode here to record, we had to definitely finagle our schedules together to make this happen. But I'm super excited to have you on here.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me. It's exciting. I'm glad to see, I know you've been doing podcasts for a while and stuff. So it's awesome to see you branching out, doing your own thing, getting to talk about the things you want to talk about. So yeah, I'm excited to be a part of it as it's getting started. So
Yeah, it's definitely been an adventure of its own. Like a little bit before we actually started recording today, I was working on kind of like a little blip episode that I can try to use for marketing purposes and stuff. And I haven't I mean now I after just going through all that earlier, I feel like I figured out my like slogan and little things like that, but it definitely was a process. But the experience of doing that Neon Talk podcast that I had for almost 2 years, I think it it helped so much to be able to now transform this show into what I'm excited to bring to everybody and just to show everybody, and like you were saying, talk a little bit more about things that are in my realm more often, and then being able to have some deeper conversations, a little less borders and boundaries, and a little deeper on stuff that we can get into. So
thank you.
so today's topic, we cycled kind of back and forth a little bit, trying to figure out exactly what we wanted to talk about with, again, as many.
Cool tattoo. Sorry, it came into the frame. That thing is sweet. I love it.
Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Yeah, it's definitely still one of those like psych trips. Like when it's in my, like, it's still kind of weird to see it on my hand and like think that like this is my hand. Like when I'm looking down at it. See, and that's a great place to start. So, the topic for today is what drives curiosities. Into back into the tattoo. So that tattoo piece within itself was, I think, a pretty creative adventure for me. So the tattoo within itself it started off as, just being a visual representation of one of these other tattoos that I have,
Mm.
but all in all, that piece itself, I think, is probably one of my more recent parts of just any of my art, really, that I've been extremely proud of. And every time I look at it, it has very much a visual representation of transformations and creativity and the color and the rainbow. And I mean, this is as much color as I have on my body. All my
Yeah.
other tattoos are black and gray.
Heck yeah. It's a beautiful piece. I love it. If I had color that showed up on me that well, I would be like, hey, I'm driving to Jersey tomorrow, okay? Sweet. So, and I have a lot of tattoos, but I mean, mine all have meanings for sure, but I have definitely not put that much time into like designing one or creating one. It's just more so like I came up with a cool idea or I saw something that really was cool and I was like, boom, I'm getting it. Um, but yet have I sat and actually like drawn up a really cool piece. I think my back piece would be that piece for me. But I had to tap out getting it started because it hurt. So I was like, that'll be when I go readjust. But that's really the only piece that I really have like a really big kind of vision for. Um, and it's just like a simple newspaper essentially. Like my whole back, the spine will be the open column for it. And my like nickname that my brother gave me goes across the top, so it's like the headline of the paper. And then as like really important things happen throughout life, I just want to fill in like all the articles in the newspaper. So that's how I envision my back. But after getting the top started, I had to tap out because I was like, no, this hurts too bad right now.
You
So
got to
eventually I
get
will
through
be back.
it.
I will have to go back. Now they got numbing cream and stuff, so I'll readdress it. So
Don't even know, man. You just gotta go in there with the right mind frame and just get it done. I sat for 9.5 hours for this tattoo, and it was all up here. All pain
yeah.
is in your mind anyways.
Ah,
I mean,
see that.
but that's a really cool concept. That's so creative. And I think that, I've talked about in a past part of this episode, and one thing I'm trying to get across with this podcast is that even though I use the word artist a lot, for me, artist is just kind of this general umbrella term for basically pretty much anybody in life, because we're all artists in our own different ways. We all have different mediums and ways that we express ourselves and have that creativity come out. So it's inspiring, to see these other ways of just of people's just left brain, right brain mixing together and creating these things that come from our mind straight out into reality.
That's what I love about like the internet blowing up so much. Being like a 91 baby, I got to see the generation of non-internet stuff, where the people who are willing to be outgoing and creative like myself, who are willing to, paint our nails and do crazy things, like you only saw them very rarely out in the street because like doing it out in public was a little bit harder to do versus like now people are very comfortable behind their screens, like just posting all kinds of creative stuff, whatever they're feeling, they can hide behind aliases and stuff. So we're able to see how many more creatives are actually out there and people are able to actually share that with them instead of just looking at, man, that person I saw walk down the street today would look really cool, or that person I saw on TV. It's like now I get to be that cool person. So that's one cool thing that I've really enjoyed seeing, like as internet and social media platforms have grown and developed, is just seeing people be free with their creativity and not have to like hide it or whatever. So it's been cool.
100%. It's more of an open platform for a lot of people. When I started up the Infinite Visions Instagram page, I got a fresh blank opportunity to be able to start, following new people. And instead of following these larger accounts that would do dump shares of art pages, which are awesome, I still follow them, but I would specifically be like, okay, if I like this piece of art, I'm going to go to that exact artist's Instagram account and specifically follow that artist so I get more of their art instead of just following these dump accounts, which
Mhm.
again, dump accounts are great to show stuff in your feed and show you new artists, but
To
continue to
support the
follow.
actual artists themselves, go follow
Exactly.
them. Yep.
Exactly. And making sure you're tagging them when, you want to share their stuff, because it is just a big form of community. Now, granted, I'm sure there will always be other forms of social media that's going to grow from Instagram, but right now that's kind of the biggest thing that we've got.
I honestly being out like I shoot nightclub photos for ECU right now, and being out with like the younger like college generation, like man, they don't even hop on Instagram like that anymore. They are all about it's Snapchat. Snapchat is hot because they introduced like similar to like Instagram Reels and stuff. They've got something new on there, and it's just every time somebody's like, "Hey, where can I get these pictures at?" and I pull my phone out, it's their Snapchat up, and I'm like, "Yo, I feel old right now because like I have a Snapchat, but I don't use it for anything. Like I never got hip to like posting my every day and every second like of what I'm doing. I enjoy being in the moment of my life. So like,
Mm-hmm.
why am I interrupting it with my phone? That's been kind of hard for me being a photographer trying to like grow my social media because I'm having a hard time adapting to new platforms because I like being in life. I don't like being on my phone all day. But yeah, man, the it's hard trying to figure out how to market to the younger crowd when they're the ones who are gonna ultimately start, at least in our market, like being in the market that we tend to try to push ourselves in always caters to the younger generation. Older people end up settling, they get their families and things like that. They're not about events, they're not keeping up with podcasts, they're not keeping up with topics, they're watching CNN and Fox News and things like that now.
Mm-hmm.
So music artists are all marketing to the youth and stuff like that. So like me paying attention to the younger generation, I'm like, oh my goodness, like I have no idea. Like the other day I was in the store and my daughter is 11 and she's like, oh my goodness, fidget spinner. I haven't seen these in forever. And in my mind, I'm like, what do you mean? They were like the most popular thing, like literally right before COVID happened, like a year ago. And I was like, they were everywhere. And she literally looked at me like with the most sour look. And then some little boy I don't even know standing right next to her was like, yeah, those things haven't been popular for like 5 years now. And he's like 7. And so I'm looking at him like, come on, man. Like, I'm trying to keep up with what's cool and like what's hip right now. And it's just things are flying out so rapid. It's crazy. I can't keep up with
They
any of it. Yeah.
are. They are. And I mean, that's something I wanted to talk with you about today was a little bit of kind of just marketing yourself as a creative, because I think that's something that we've shared pretty common dynamics with meeting each other in the nightlife scene and mainly growing from networking opportunities. Like you're
Mhm.
talking about people, just simply asking where you can find the photos, and then they get your contact information from there, and being able to grow yourself by just getting out and exposing yourself. But yes, it is very tedious to go about and keep up with all these new forms of social media and ways to just get your name out there, because it is also a competitive field. It's you know, creatives, there's a lot of them nowadays, as everyone sees TikToks, Snapchat, Instagram, wherever you are, podcasts. Yeah, and not just, I think, from not only just COVID, but also from the explosion of social media itself, giving people outlets. So there's definitely a need, I think, for people to learn ways that they can expand their networking, to expand their knowledge, and yeah, honestly, podcasts, YouTube videos, like friends and family, I've always found to be my first main source of where I found and started learning most of my information.
Yeah, to be honest, like me going out and just doing it has been my best friend. Like I can say I spend a lot of time, like I guess everybody does go online and Google and research the answer to certain questions and stuff, but the internet is so flooded with a bunch of stuff that's going to make no sense to you or that may pertain kind of to what you're looking for, but everybody's situation is so different. So my best my best like advice or whatever has been literally just going out and doing it myself, like going out, talking to people, getting the experience, not being scared to fail by taking on something I have no idea if I can do or not. Like it's like, okay, someone offers me an opportunity and it's like, I've seen other people do that. I think I could do that. I know with practice I could do that. Whatever. I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna say I can do it. And whatever comes of it, comes of it. Like, but I think personally for me, it's just not being scared to go out and take on an opportunity or being afraid of the unknown. Like the unknown to me is very inviting. It's like, hey, there's something new that I don't know, and I love gaining more knowledge. So, even if I might have to get pricked by a couple thorns on the way or something, hop over a couple hills, like, at the end of this, I'm coming out with a better knowledge, a better person, a new skill of some sort, like, and whatever mistakes I made along that way, I'll just make sure I don't repeat them again. and I'll try the next venture the same way I tried this one. And some of them are great and some of them are not so great, but really you just can't be scared to go out there and try it, anything. I just mainly shoot event photos. But with COVID, I recently started, having to pick up more portraits. Like, I've shot some photos for you and stuff like that,
Mhm.
but events is my main thing. And all this last year, I've really had to push like portraiture, trying to build clients that way. So that's been a real struggle for me personally. It's been a new style of shooting because I'm not used to having to pose people. I'm used to just candid taking pictures. So trying to be able to shoot and be like, okay, you should hold yourself this way, or maybe jump up here. Like at first I was just quiet. I was just like, do whatever you're comfortable with and I'm gonna take a picture of it, like, and then now I'm starting to like have a little bit more of a vision for it and things like that. But it's all just personal growth and not being scared to get out there and make those mistakes, not even make a mistake necessarily, but see, okay, this is where I'm at. Where do I want to be? What adjustments or tweaks can I make to get where I want to be, and making them and go, and not getting discouraged while you're doing it. Because, there's always somebody that's behind you and there's always somebody that's ahead of you. So, just keep going.
Yeah, 100%. I think that the embrace of everything is it being scared is one of the best, like, they forms. Let me see if I can find this real quick. There was an example. There it is. There was an example of perspective that I found the other day that I think really challenges this idea. It's basically where there's discomfort, there's growth. Where there's problems, there's challenges. Where there's rejection, there's redirection. From triggers, you reveal wounds. Darkness reveals light. Failures show lessons. Fear teaches, and pain is power. And I think that's all pretty much intertwined. I mean, that's for
Yeah.
everything on life, but for what we're talking about specifically with growing your craft, with getting out there, it's a lot of this willingness to accept failure, willingness to being looking silly about trying something new. It's that willingness to just go out and do it and start it in the first place, because that's the only way you're going to create that progression and create those next steps to get where you want to go. I mean, yeah, for you, that's one of with, like you were just saying, you love events. That's one reason why we work as such a great dynamic with each other as wedding photographers together, as being shooters, because I love portraits and you like wide shot candid event photos.
Yep.
What better do
Perfect
you
team.
want from weddings? So but that's, same thing on my end. I had to get comfortable with taking more wider perspectives on what I was shooting. I know this is what I like. I know this is what I'm good at, but how can I also be expanding myself and expanding my skills, adding to my toolbox? Not just to stay consistent and upkeep with, how the world changes, but also to upkeep with myself. And I think that's one of my favorite things about photography, at least specifically, is that it's never ending growth. You can learn and learn and learn with photography. There is so many different things between equipment or lighting or editing, and it's just it immerses me every time I get into a different form of it. And I think that's why I've gotten this far with Infinite Visions now. It started off as me just randomly editing some little neon lights on some photos, to now creating entire worlds, to now branding myself as a graphic designer and content creator and creating a podcast through the show itself. I mean, through that brand, and just being able to expand and not be scared to do it all myself. I think, yeah, but that's my little the end of that rant there.
No. I mean, I agree though. Everything like I don't know where else to go. I think we covered that pretty well. Like it is this, like you said, it is not being scared to get out there, tackling whatever, doing what you want to do too. That's a big thing people forget to do in life these days, is doing what you want to do and not what you think other people want you to do, or what you think is right, or what needs to be done. Like sometimes, I mean, yeah, I'm not talking about like right or wrong. I'm just like genuinely like your soul, like what makes you happy. Like so many people like are very talented, very creative, and like there are so many avenues to like, I mean, you don't even have to do it to make money, you know, like pursuing a hobby. There's so many people around me that I watch with talent that just stop all their hobbies, you know, like they're like, oh, okay, like you know, this is not making me money like it is making so and so money that I see on Instagram every day, and I just need to go back to work and work 9 to 5, and that's kind of it, and that's my life, and then I'm gonna scroll my feed when I get home. And to me, that's really hard to watch because it's like, you know, yeah, it may not be making you money, but like you're not doing what you want to do at all. You're watching everybody else now do what they want to do, and you chose to go punch a clock somewhere and do what you had to do because you weren't willing to just like struggle a little bit, you know, like to, or not even struggle, like go punch your 9 to 5, but at least come home, get off your social media and create for yourself. Create for yourself and share it. Do what you want to do, you know, put down your phone, pick up a piece of paper, draw something, you know, or you have a computer, download uh trial version of Photoshop and play around with some things and see if you really like it and if it's worth you investing into. It's like $10 a month to
They
have
do
Photoshop,
7-day
you know,
free
like
trials for anything through Adobe Creative Cloud.
exactly. And if you're a student, you know, you get literally like for like $20, you get the entire Adobe suite, you know. So there's so many avenues of ways to be able to create freely, and like it's not even like trying to make money, just doing something that you enjoy. So I think that's something a lot of people really need to remember to take the time to do, is do what you want to do and not
Yes.
just get caught up in the things that make your life go daily. Because what happens when you stop going because you know you're so boggled down with all the crap going on around you, it's like, dang, I forgot to take care of myself. And all the things that are making your home, paying your bills, your job, you know, all those things don't go unless you're going. So by giving up on yourself, you're giving up on all the things around you, and you're not living your life to the like the fullest, you know. So
Yeah. There is a lot of a lost contact between people realizing, you know, what they can be doing with their life versus what they are doing, and breaking away from what those social constructs have, you know, pushed down our throat. Work to those 9 to 5s, do this, do that. There's no rule book about how to live life. There's no set in stone rules saying that you have to do this or you have to do that. If you're sustaining yourself, if you're happy, if you're being genuinely good to yourself, your body, your health, the people around you, your family, why does it matter if you live, you know, in a mansion or in a, you know, in a trailer? Or why does it matter if you're working a 9 to 5 making 60K, if you're, or just living
if
off
you're
your
happy.
land being self-sustaining? Exactly. It's as long as you're happy and you're doing that thing that makes you happy,
Mm-hmm.
that's the important part. I know plenty of people who work 9 to 5 jobs where they have the jobs that they want.
That they
It's
love.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
and they love doing it. And
Yep.
great for you. We need those types of people in our world. But there are also people who I see who are just like, oh man, another day at work, here to go to work. And you can see it draining
Mm-hmm.
their resources for themselves when they get out of work, because they don't realize, like, hey, it's so you can cut off a few hours here in your schedule working over here, so that you can start putting it into this part of your life that can be, that you can invest in your time now, so then that'll eventually generate to something that you can make income off of and get completely out of that 9 to 5 and transfer into this life of working for yourself, or just working for a simpler way that's not putting so much just everyday stress on you.
Mm-hmm. I think how like earlier I said social media has been like great for, you know, people being able to let their creative sides out. I think it also is very hurtful to the people who are not willing to let their creative sides out, because boom, now it's literally being shoved in your face every day, all these people creating, and it's discouraging you from creating, which it shouldn't be. It should be encouraging you, like, shit, this could be me out here too. But I could also seeing it go the opposite way from how I mentioned earlier. Like I could definitely see it being a little discouraging. Like, man, you know, I just got off of work and this person's been out shooting photos all day, you know, like I wish I could be shooting photos all day, and then kind of get in a rut from that, you know, like,
And
so it's like,
I think a part of that really comes back to really the communities that we build around each other, right? So, like social media, like if it's discouraging someone, if it's, I mean, there's definitely the bias of, oh my God, look at the life that they're living. I wish I had that life. Too many people are focused on the grass is greener on the other side instead of watering their own grass. And a lot of that, I feel like, especially right now, it's coming from a cultural standpoint, in the sense of where there isn't enough people on your day-to-day life, on your day-to-day walk, your regular interactions, that have that joyous, like, perception of humans as we used to, right? So,
Yeah, people
for
don't just say hi to you walking by anymore. Like me, I'll be out on a run or somewhere and I walk by and like someone makes eye contact with me. Well, I'm gonna wave and say hi to them, like because you're staring me down, like, hello,
yeah,
I hope you're having a good day, like
well,
but they're just
completely,
sometimes they'll say hi or sometimes they won't. But I
yeah.
try to at least initiate that and be that, hey, maybe no one said hi to you today, maybe you needed that.
Yeah, spreading that positivity, spreading that love, just being conscious of it, but really just that genuine support from your community base, right? So a lot of people, like, I'm sure many of people have had conversations with friends that they're super excited about the new project that they're working on, or something that they just completed, and they don't get that support feedback the way that they expected it. It's been, I feel like I've seen a lot of turning of support into selfishness. There's not a lot of people out there who will who will see that smaller artist and give them the time of day that they deserve, versus being like, oh, well, you don't have a million, followers. Well, you're not good enough for my attention.
Mhm.
And it's one of the memes that a meme that I see that I think points it out a lot is like, you have a picture, you've got a girl who's painting a painting and it looks beautiful and it's got like one heart above it. And then you've got a picture of a dude taking a picture of the girl painting and it's got
Yeah.
like over 1,000 hearts. It's just like the simplicity of what I mean, though. There's People are so focused now on validation from other people that they can't just genuinely give support and like appreciation to what people might be trying to show them.
I
And
think I
it's a
think people
lost.
I think more people generally I don't think everybody. I agree with that. I think it also has to do with the fact that, like, all the companies and brands, the people that are, the social platforms that are paying people for their views and their likes and things like that are paying it because of that, like
Yeah.
they're not seeking, the best artists on Instagram out and paying them because, you posted literally the coolest thing on our platform today. We're putting money in your pocket for it. They're like, somebody posted a dumb video of them dancing in the bathroom and slipping and falling. They got a million views. We're paying them 100 grand for it. Like that's that is the kind of stuff social media fuels, is just that kind of crap. So that's why I would see like people are gonna be like, I want to support my artist friend, but he's not getting any views. But this person over here is. I'm trying to get some clout. Let me go over here. And it has created that. Not that they necessarily want to, but it's like if you're trying to be somebody, it is also like it's hard. It's like, dang, I have to network with people who are getting looked at, because if not, I'm not going to be looked at. But I also don't want to not support, the person right next to me that's doing the same thing as me, because, I know exactly what it's like to be you because I am you right now. So
Well, exactly, and I agree with that, and but it is a little contradictory within itself, because you've got, like you said, you use the word clout. I think that's a great way to kind of look at it, but because clout is it's this concept of just social awareness, I
bandwagoning
guess.
almost like.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not all of it is good, though. And I think that's the thing, is you've got a lot of these people who are like, "Oh my God, I want to be influencers. I want to have this, that, and the third," and they're over here chasing that clout, but they're not actually chasing like redeemable rewards. There are people who are, don't get me wrong, like, there are people who are genuinely going out of their way and who are networking with people who have larger social networking circles. And that's great. That's what you should be doing to grow yourself as an individual, is networking for the right reasons.
And
But
pushing your genuine craft, not just, pushing whatever
exactly.
you think is gonna get you to blow up to continue having people create content for you to continue staying popular or whatever. So
Exactly, like, it's creating, and that's, I think, something a lot of I've at least noticed through doing my Neon Talk podcasts and talking to people over the last year, mainly, just for this, point, musicians, where a lot of them have recognized that they don't need to be pushing out music as much as they were. Like, while they thought it was a little bit of a necessity in the beginning of COVID to keep themselves relevant because they're not going out to shows, so they feel like they need to keep pushing out this work, but it was just draining them and draining their creativity and draining that inspiration that they had. So a lot of them decided to pull back and realize, all right, I'd rather put out the work that I know I want to put out and I've invested time in, that I know is going to be where I want it to be as an artist, that makes me happy, but also knowing that my fans or the viewers or the listeners are going to appreciate it just as much, even though they're not getting something once a week. One thing that has, I know I've put as much work into, and my creativity and my heart,
and
is going to be
replayable
better.
value until I give them the
Yeah.
next thing, opposed to like, oh, I listened to that next.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you. That replayable value. That was kind of the point I was getting to. So, and that's something that social media has kind of shoved down our throats, is that, like, oh, you need to be you posting all the time and you need to be showing everybody something new consistently, now, instant gratification, just like now. And it's hard to keep up with that, and
Mhm.
like you said, it can get very discouraging. It's very much a yin yang, and I think a balance when it comes to trying to network and market yourself on social media and stand out from the crowd and stand out as an individual and start off from the bottom and working your way up to at least getting some sort of following that maybe the algorithms will pick up, or maybe they won't, because the algorithms are doing some crazy
Whatever.
cancel culture bullshit that no one's keeping
I
up
follow
with.
tons of people online and I see the same three people's post all day long. And it's like, I know people are posting more than this. Like, I don't understand it. Like, where's all these people's posts? Because then, like, a week later, I'll see a post from like 4 days ago. And I'm like, that definitely never showed up on my feed. How is this 4 days old? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. I don't understand it either. But I agree. I think posting, not over posting. I mean, it depends on your account. Some people over
True.
posting is key. But like, um, I think really quality of content and just being consistent. It doesn't matter if it's consistent every day or consistent once a week or consistent once a month. Whatever consistency you choose to have, just keep it and make sure that you keep your quality. Make sure that, when people look at it from month to month, week to week, it just stays the same or it progresses and gets better. They don't want to see something worse than they saw the previous week, but um yeah, not everybody has time. Like me, I would love to be dropping photo shoot content all the time. Like, but between school and family and working, well, photos is working for me, but like getting clients their photos versus creative stuff from my own page is different. Like when clients pay for a photo, I'm not posting their entire photo shoot on my social media. That's for them to do whatever they need to do with. But I would love to be just creating content all day and pursuing that influencer kind of lifestyle, not as like a that's all I do is influence, but like as a photographer who can get out there and like create content for people and just be active like that. Like I
Hmm.
definitely know I have that ability. I don't have the time to do it right now. So it's like, this kind of sucks. But um I don't know, man. I love what we do. Like I think we have the best job out of everybody. Like, artists, musicians, not artists, musicians, and like, other artists, they have fun. It's cool. I would love to be on a stage like performing or rapping or having people chant my name and stuff like that. But then at the end of the day, like I literally get to sit down and experience everything everybody's experiencing everywhere I go, because my job is literally to just watch everybody, take your picture, record your video, not miss a moment so that you can have that moment to remember later. And over the years, I think that's why I've grown such an appreciation for what I do, is because I genuinely just get to see people have a good time all the time or be in their element. And they may not be having a good time, but regardless, I'm seeing raw, genuine life happen in front of me all the time. And I love it. So I think that's what keeps me motivated to just be out there shooting photos and driving to Greenville 3 nights a week, an hour and a half away. It's just to see people living life, having a good time. I see people crying, I've probably cried with people before, all kinds of crazy stuff doing photography. But it's just the fact that I get to live life in my way, to the fullest way that I can do it at the moment, as my funds and my finances and things like that get better and I get my degree and stuff. Obviously I'll be able to do more with my life, but right now I have a pretty full life. I've got an awesome family, I've got a pretty good career that I would do for myself, and then I get to see other people and I get to help other people. I have other photographers that message me all the time asking me, for little tips and things. And I've thought about, creating a video page and doing just little tutorials and stuff, because how we were talking about before, expanding your creative skills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember it was a couple years ago, maybe. I had just bought a new camera and I was like, man, I'm just doing events. I was like, I really want to start trying to practice different photography types, even if I'm not going to do them. It's kind of when I started that project Ataraxis and I started those black and white photos.
Hmm.
I was challenging myself, and every week I was practicing a different style of photography. So I was doing one week was black and white, one week was, I don't know, bokeh or whatever, another one was light trails and or just headshots or landscapes, or go out and take a picture of trees, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
I literally went on Google and pulled up different types of photography, and I found this really cool list. It was 25 different types of photography, and it had a sample of each one, and for a week I would just practice each one of those. And so I may not be great at all of them, but I have enough knowledge to be able to share with other people and give them advice of where they can start and then practice and get better themselves if that's what they choose to do. So I think that'd be kind of cool to branch off and do something like that eventually. I definitely have the tools to set up and do a cool little show or whatever, but time is not my friend right now. Okay.
Well, I know you've got some little ones running around in your house right now.
I'm
So
surprised they're fine. I'm surprised my 2-year-old hasn't busted in here yet. I was 100% prepared for her to bust in here at some point during the show and just be like, Daddy, come play with me or something. But I think she's hanging out watching TV right now. So she's been chilling. But
man, that's great. I know you definitely keep up with a lot because aside from the photography and the videography, which when did you exactly start doing all of that? Because like I said, I know we met downtown, what, like 2017?
yeah, back doing
But
weird dope stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, I and NC event nightlife things. What's it called? I started shooting photos. Man, let's see, maybe 2014 or 15. The first time I picked up a camera was it was in December, I think, of 2014, for Base Lights in Hampton, Virginia. I had just been introduced to the rave culture and stuff like that. And went to a Bass Nectar show in Charlotte. I was like, this was my mind was blown. It was the first rave I'd ever been to, and mine was blown. So a few months later, we had the opportunity to go to it was a big foam rave in Queens up in New York, and I went there. And for the night, it happened to be a Halloween party. That's what it was. It was Halloween rave, and me and my friends that we were with, we dressed as the Ninja Turtles, and so I had changed my Instagram account to Rave Turtles for the night, and people loved it. They were like, Rave Turtles, that's amazing. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I think I have something catchy here. So I literally went home, I put my Instagram back to what it was, and I created Rave Turtles. Had no idea what it was. Literally just made the account, held the name. I was like, no one can steal that from me because it was popping. So I was like, it just sat there for months. And then I went to that show and they were like, I don't know how busy it's going to be. It's going to be crazy packed, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right, bet. So I went home and I created these little Ghost Mode Movement was the name of the company that I had at the time, and created Sarah drew these little card things, and I printed them out on this crappy printer paper, cut them out all crooked because I can't cut straight for anything. Failed kindergarten. No, I'm just kidding. But so brought this little Cool Pix. I know you know what a Cool Pix is.
I
Little
do.
click, click, horrible, cheap, crappy
Yep.
$20.
I had one of
I
those.
had one of those. I brought it with me, right? And I had just brought it to take pictures of like my friends and stuff, like, and I brought this little cards to just grow my social media following. But somewhere in the midst of me having fun and partying, I found myself being a photographer. So boom, here we are in the middle of here we are in the middle of this giant coliseum, and I'm a photographer. Well, nobody knows I'm not a photographer because I was confident. All right. So boom, I'm everywhere. I literally was pushing through the crowd. People were partying like I was Moses. All right. They were like, hey, guy got a camera, watch out. He's coming through. And I was like, this is amazing. How did I get from the back of this Coliseum to the rail? All right.
Right.
And
Yep.
I'm not even a photographer, but hey, come on, guys. And so my whole squad was up there. Um, but that was the first night, and like people were hitting me up for some of the pictures and stuff, and they were just horrible pictures. I still have some of them somewhere on a hard drive. Horrible pictures, just the worst things I've ever seen in my life. And went back to New York, and I was just like, man, I really love everything about this. I love the culture. I love, Plur was really big back then and all that. So I was like, I love everything about this. So I got into networking with some of the promotion teams that were in the city. And I started picking up tickets for some of the events in the city, because in New York, they regularly have large artists come through to different venues. So I was selling tickets to that. And then I landed guest lists at Pacha and at Webster Hall, which were two of the bigger like venues in the city. And I ran really like good guest lists for a couple years there. And when I left, my brother Deej, he lives in Texas. He's a photographer. He develops film. He does all kinds of dope artwork. He much different style photographer than I am, but he gave me his first camera that he picked up. It was like a Canon D100, like a $50 camera body, and I bought a nifty 50, and I went out and I was like, I'm about to learn photography. And so he taught me all the basics and was like, this is how you shoot a manual, this is what the aperture is, this is what shutter speed does, this is what ISO does, figure it out. And I was like, all right, let's go. And then I just kind of started shooting from there, playing around here and there. Didn't really take it too serious because my guest list and stuff was kind of where I held on to, like the business side of things was where I was the strongest at. And Deej was my photographer, so he would shoot the photos for the events, and I would run the business side of things and sell tickets and whatnot. When I moved here and he went to Texas, obviously Raleigh is just not the same. The night scene's not the same. So I was like, I need to still stay active in this community. Like I need to stay in nightlife. So I'm not a DJ. I don't want to be a DJ. How do I do this? So I started pushing my photography a little bit more. I started going around to like little bars that would allow me in with a camera to build a portfolio. And I just started snagging pictures here and there where I could. And then I started marking myself to like venues. And then I just grew from there. And yeah, now here I am, probably solidly shooting photos for the last like 4 years, maybe.
That's still life.
And still life I've been at for 3 years minus the year with COVID. So 2 years technically I've been with Still Life. I'm their resident photographer, which is awesome. I love being there. And I've done some other like festivals. I've done some different festivals. Like I'm on Imagine's photography team there. So like as soon as they started announcing stuff, I started getting the emails from them about that. I don't know if my schedule, if I'm going to be able to go shoot with them or not, but
I can take your spot.
yeah, hey, I can plug you in with the guy. I'll send you the email and get you plugged in with them. Like that was one thing that Rave Turtles really helped me out with. Like I got to, because I was so good at selling tickets and like just like Rave Turtles, the whole thing was connecting a community. That was like the slogan for it. And I had a giant turtle that we had drawn, and he was like, his name was Toki the Turtle, and he was just this badass mascot. And we would travel to like festivals and create this camp, like this like themed area called Turtle Grounds. And it was like a community area where people could come and feel safe. Like if they're having a bad trip, if they didn't want to be like, if they wanted to hang out in the like camping area, but not at their tents because they didn't feel comfortable with people around their personal stuff, we would just always go to festivals and create this community there. It would be like a destination, like we'd be on the festival map, like you could come find us. And then one of the best things we incorporated into it was this thing called the Dream Garden. And we built like all these, like cut out all these foam, like hundreds of foam flowers, and put them on like painted popsicle sticks and put them all in the ground. And there were a bunch of markers like on posts throughout this whole garden that we had. And the point of it was just throughout the festival, like whenever you're like, you know, you need a break, you're not feeling good, you have something positive to put, you have something you need to get off your chest, people could pick a flower up and plant it back and write something on it and plant it back. So that was one of the things we got to go around and do, and people loved it. Like they absolutely loved it. Like we would have people, like I'd, you know, be walking through the campground at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and there'd be somebody just, you know, experiencing life, you know, out there just in their own zone, but they would be sitting in the middle of the flowers like by themselves, and they'd be writing. And like I still have all the flowers there in my shed. Just the stuff that's written on them. Obviously, you get some funny stuff. It's like, oh, okay, that guy was, you know, kind of being a comedian. But you really have some deep stuff, like some of the things people put, like whatever they were going through or however they were feeling in that moment. Like it's just a really beautiful things. You know, I got to see doing that. But in doing Rave Turtles, I got to meet a lot of like the festival owners and curators and people putting on the events and stuff. So I was able to make a lot of really good business connections for when I need to like go do that kind of stuff. You know, I have emails, I have personal phone numbers. It's one of the reasons why I deleted my personal Facebook, is because I'm very vocal on certain matters that, you know, don't go hand in hand with business all the time. So I was like, I have to get off of my personal Facebook because it'll start making my business go sour. So I was like, I'm just going to keep those opinions to myself, you know, be an activist where I need to be one, but, you know, keep business and that separate. So
That's
I had to
always a
be
smart move.
I had to. It was just smart for me because I'm very passionate about the things that I care about. So I was just like, "Whoop, I'm out of this game. I'm off of Facebook. It's been real, Zuckerberg, but I'm out of here,
You
buddy."
know, and it's funny that you say that because I didn't even really realize it until I went to go like send you the link for this show, and I was like looking up your name on Facebook, and I'm like, I swear to God, me and Malik were just talking on Facebook the other
Yep. Now
day.
my messenger is still there. So like if you go into your messenger, you can find me and still message me that way. But yeah, my actual page is gone. I created an anonymous page that like you're not gonna be able to find me on, that manages all my business's accounts still.
Okay.
You know, because I need like my WizKid page up. I
Yeah.
need my Sizzling Wizards page. I manage a couple other people's pages for them too. So I needed to have access to them still. But personally, I have nothing on my Facebook now.
Well, it's
So
pretty cool that you're able to at least kind of create some incognito accounts to still work on the business pages. Because I
I
was
just made
curious if
yeah, I just made a whole nother personal page. I just made it with a fake name, and I put up like, you know, some filler profile pages. I did the worst part is I'm huge. I wish I could like turn my thing around and show you my Funko collection. It's in the wrong place. It should be behind me. I'm gonna fix that for the next time we do a podcast. All right, this is not right. It looks boring. I got all these Funkos right here. It's like Funko Kingdom, and then that wall is boring, and it's been irritating me the whole time we've been on this call. I'm just saying.
to get back to our topic of today, kind of what drives creativity, to wrap kind of things up here, because I don't want to keep you too long. I know you gotta start getting ready soon to head out to work.
Yeah, you know.
But so what really drives creativity? I mean, there are so many answers to that question. I definitely think we talked and touched on a few different ones today between, you know, your social community, your the community of just others and what you can do to inspire other people. I think that garden that you talked about was something like that. I'm sure, you know, you're not ever going to forget, and that's something that inspired people. Moment of that, you know, like that idea, like where did that even idea come from to be able to start planting the flowers, like doing the
Um,
garden?
Really, we were trying to think of of something to do that, like an activity essentially, because like at our we always had like a giant fire pit where people could come and like hang out and different stuff, and it was a whole roped off area, and like we had decorations. I had a photo booth set up, so like certain points of the day you could come like get in the photo booth with your friends and do photos. Um, but we were like, we need something to do here that's not on a schedule, you know, like something that allows people to be creative. I think it started off like as like a candy making station, you know, like people were like sitting at a table, and I was like, no, this is not it. Like there's beads everywhere, like, you know, having to invest into all these beads and stuff. Like it was just a lot, you know,
Yeah.
like um so the flowers were more like cost efficient, and it seemed to have a deeper meaning. You know, like candy was cool, but like for me, like, you know, people were going to make those candy pieces, they were going to disappear, and then, you know, eventually you're going to lose them all, you know. So, you know, they're going to be gone. Like those flowers I'm going to have forever. I'm always going to be able to look back at them. If I choose to get rid of them, I'll be able to take pictures and scrapbook all of them before I do that, you know. So um it was more so just a deeper way for us to connect with people. Like it was a few years ago, and I'm not gonna lie, I've become much more of like an asshole, to be honest, over the last couple years compared to how I was when I ran Rave Turtles. Life just really kind of tore me down for a little while. So uh, I was so about being positive. Like I was disgustingly positive back then, like so just literally anything to like bring people together and like create that like home. Like I wanted to be that home for everybody. Like whenever we go out, it doesn't matter how like, messed up or tore up I was by partying. Like if y'all needed my help, like, or you needed somebody to somehow find soberness in them, I was that person for the family that I was with, no matter where we went. And even if you weren't with my family, you could become part of my family, like, and that was just, and I still keep that same energy. Definitely, especially in places where I know people need it, um, but like running my business that way, like the image of my business that way is super hard, because then when I do want to get into like, a little bit more touchy waters and subjects with people, um, I couldn't do that with a business that only promoted positivity all the time. Not that I want to promote negativity, but like, you know,
Controversy.
yes, branching off into WizKid and just marketing myself and not marketing an image or a brand that's not me. Like I found my best friend, I've always marketed me better than anything I've ever marketed. Like when it comes to doing a job interview or whatever, I can market myself 100 times better than anything you put in my hands. So I was like, I need to pivot from this. That way I can just be me the realest way I know how to be me, not trying to be this perfect community leader person that I can be, but like do I want to like sacrifice my own happiness by being that disgustingly positive all the time when it's not
It wasn't realistic
it
for
wasn't
you.
realistic. Yeah, and then so being able to transition into Wiz and Fathom the Wizardry just kind of definitely helped me. Fathom the Wizardry started off as a blog in junior high school, actually, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, WizKid just definitely helps me market myself as me. So no matter what I want to do, whether it's my web developing, whether it's photography, whether it's anything, it's just me. You're hiring me. You're hiring Malik, and you get what you need from me. Like you don't need to hire a brand. You don't need to hire this name, because that's what it does. It's like if I know how to do it and it's a skill you need, put me on your books. I got you.
I love it. I know you between the food, the photos, the video, the web design. I mean, you just creativity definitely drives a lot of your life. But I absolutely love it. You're such an
It
inspiration.
should
That's
drive a lot of people's life. So I hope lots of people get inspired, not by me, but by you too. Like you do a lot of creating, and I watch your work over the last like you started posting new work in the last like 6 months or so. Like you made a very heavy transition in like your editing style and like the photos you've been posting. So I've been enjoying it because I watch my friends, and I love seeing my friends like grow and progress as artists as well. And I always can tell when like you disappear off of a feed for a little while. It's like, oh, she got to be practicing something new. And then boom, sure enough, your editing style is slightly different and more refined than it was before. And like, just things like that. It's just always awesome to see people progress and like how they change and whatnot. It's inspiring to me because now it's like, okay, boom, Paige just stepped it up on me. And like, well, I got to step it up too now, like I got to challenge
yeah.
myself to get better in a different area of my life, So, and I think that's what's great about having friends, like our friendship, like it just fuels each other, being able to see that, being able to support, not being discouraged by what each other's doing, but actually seeing it. It's like, okay, hey, look, they chose to do something great. They learned something new. I'm about to go learn something new. That's what
Yes.
makes me happy, like, and I think that's what's important. And I think a lot of people miss that. So
I agree. I agree. I think, and that's what I hope to get out of, creating this Infinite Visions podcast and sharing more of these deeper topics is really to just inspire people to do those things and get out of that comfort zone and just not feel so, I mean, confined not only to where they are creatively, but also to their own mindsets. I want people to become open minded to this show, to come with the idea of just simple curiosity of the fact that we've talked about so many different things today just within this last hour. Thank you for coming on here and always and sharing your points of views and sharing part of your story. I definitely want people to they can go follow you. So it's what is the website? It's with
my website is leaksvision.com, but you can find me on all my social media is at Fathom the Wizardry. So just encourage people to, like we started it off, don't fear the unknown. Don't fear what you don't know. Embrace it. Sometimes go walk into the darkness and see what comes out of it. Like you just never know. Don't fear it. Just take every opportunity as a learning lesson and grow from them and enjoy life.
100%. Well, thank you so much again, everyone. Definitely, if you enjoyed the episode, give it a like, give it a share the positivity and the love and the community all around. So thank you, Malik, so much again for coming on. I'm excited to get this show up and running and future photo shoot endeavors. I know we'll actually keep in contact soon because we've got some shoots here coming up, but
If we do some hot fire for you people, check your timelines.
right. Keep updated and support your local artists because we're all in a community together, and the more we can share that love, I think the more inspired we're all going to be at the end of the day.
For sure.
If you've listened this far, I hope that you liked the show, and if you did, I would greatly appreciate it if you gave it a share. Thank you for joining me while we explored these infinite visions, and I'll catch you on the next page.